Well, hello, Quest. Good to see you. Want to maybe just touch on a couple of things today. First of all, the weather. Uh, here in St. Louis, we get weather, obviously. We're on the kind of that line between north and south, east and west. It all kind of happens here. And normally our weather isn't all that threatening, but once in a while it gets a little crazy. And so the forecast for this weekend is generally cold. I mean, in the single digits, right? And down below zero. It's going to be really cold. So on Sunday, though, there shouldn't be any moisture. The rain and the snow is supposed to have come and gone, but what stays is going to be frozen. It's going to be cold. So we anticipate that Sunday won't be an issue, that we'll have services on Sunday. But just in case, remind you of our protocols is if there's ever any concern or any chance of it being canceled, we do that by 7 o'clock Sunday morning. And when we determine that, we put it out on our website, we'll put it out on social media so that people can access that and know whether church is on or off. So we determine that by 7, kind of taking a risk on the next 2 or 3 hours before service would start because you never know. But we have to make some sort of determination. So we'll let you know. We anticipate this Sunday will be on. It's just going to be chilly. But we'll heat the building, and so you'll be comfortable here. And if you want to stay all afternoon, you're welcome to it. Just hang out here. But so that's all about the weather. Now, the other thing I just want to touch base on is this new series we started last week in the Gospel of Matthew. We've been doing it for a long time, the 5 years. And sometimes we make a joke about it's taking so long and we've never been anywhere else. But here's the reality. We really think that the Gospel of Matthew is this really beautifully written thesis, if you will, of helping us understand what it means to walk with Jesus, right? So at the very end of the book of Matthew, he says, go therefore and make disciples and baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to observe all that I have commanded. And I'll be with you even to the end of the age. But if we're going to obey what he commanded, then the logical reality is we have to know what is it that he commanded. And so Matthew beautifully writes this entire gospel so that we understand what Jesus has been doing and how he arranged the ministry and all that he said. So there's 5 didactic sections where it's just teaching. If you have a red letter edition of the Bible, it's be those red letter sections that are huge and kind of solid red. And those 5 are spaced out between what we call narratives, or pieces where he is illustrating all the things that Jesus said and did in the activities of the ministry during his 3 or 3.5 years of ministry. So those teaching sections, though, are really critical. The first one is the value systems of the kingdom. We call it the Sermon on the Mount, chapters 5, 6, and 7. And it's this really important section because he's revealing to his followers the values that he carries. And it's just like the 10 Commandments in a sense. These commandments are beautiful directives on how to live life. And these values that he talks about in the Sermon on the Mount are how to live life well. And so it's very instructive. But just like the 10 Commandments, it also has kind of a dark side, if you will, because it reveals that we're not that we've fallen short, that we need somehow a solution to a problem because I haven't matched up to the value systems of the kingdom, right? And so in a sense, that's where Jesus starts, is with his values, which reveals that we fall short. And at the end of that Sermon on the Mount, there's this beautiful statement. He says, he who hears what I say and does them is like a man who builds his house on a rock. And when the rains come and the winds blow and the waves crash, his house stands. But the person who builds his house on other things, who reject the value system of the kingdom, builds a life that when the rains come and the winds blow and the waves crash, it's like building a house on the sand and it's destroyed so easily. And it says that it's tragic what happens to people when that happens. I wonder if that's a great description of the world in which we live. We're building our house on the sand, and it's just destroyed so easily. And we don't take that lightly, because these are human beings. These are people. People that matter, right? They matter to us, but they matter even more to God himself. Well, as the gospel goes on, it's not only the value system of the kingdom, but then he talks about the mission of the kingdom and what that's going to look like, being sent out to be a part of what Jesus is doing. And he warns us there's going to be some difficult times. You need to be rejected. People aren't going to appreciate it, and they're going to push back, and how to deal with that. And then he enters into a time of talking about the secrets of the kingdom, or the parables in the middle of the gospel. It's these parables of beautiful spiritual truths that he says some will understand and some won't. And so that's the middle of the 5 sections. And then the fourth of that is going to be kingdom life, or how to live in the community that he is calling us to. How to live out this human relationships, this thing called the church. How to do that. Kingdom life, kingdom community. And then the section we finished just before Christmas is all about kingdom warnings. Because they begin to ask him, well, what's it going to look like at the end of the age? What's going to happen? And though they still didn't understand it all, Jesus began to very clearly outline what would happen when he is going to go away, and what's going to happen, and what will have to happen for him to come back for the second appearance of Christ. And he is coming back. But he outlines what it's going to look like. And some ways it's really hard. So that's what he just finished. And now this section that we're doing is a narrative of a bunch of events and things that Jesus said also. But in the last part of the book, the last 3 chapters, we're talking about the end of the kingdom. It's really, in a sense, the beginning of the kingdom, but it's the end, in a sense, of the earthly time of Jesus' life and ministry. And then him kind of leading us through that. And this is going to be leading us up to Easter, which is really the crux of the Christian faith. That Jesus had died, and he died for our sin, to do the very thing that none of us could do for ourselves, is to reach this place of forgiveness, to defeat the death that sin brings. And he does it for us. And then he commissions us to live, and to live well. So that's what we're doing in Matthew, so that we might know how to obey that which he has commanded, so that we might live out of the value system of his kingdom, but out because of a relationship with him that's established by his death and resurrection and the forgiveness that I so desperately need, right? Okay, that's where we're headed. Thanks for your time today. Look forward to see you this weekend. It's going to be beautiful, but it is going to be cold. So bundle up, and we look forward to seeing you guys. All right? All right. Love you guys. Be well.